What's up, guys? So today's video is we're going to be looking at the movie delays. Within the last week, Disney and Marvel have officially released the delayed slate for Phase 4. Black Widow is coming, and yeah, but it's just going to be obviously later. So CNET.com has a website which will be linked down below, and on this page we've got the coronavirus movie delays, the title being all the 2020-2021 blockbusters postponed, with a subtitle of Wonder Woman, James Bond, Black Widow and Top Gun get hit by coronavirus pandemic, with 2021 films like Uncharted, The Batman and Matrix 4 disrupted. And yeah, obviously we don't like that, but it is what it is, and we're more than happy to wait for something than to have people put themselves at risk of catching a potentially fatal disease trying to give us this stuff. And that is not what we want. Okay, so it reads, for many it comes as a shock to hear that the latest James Bond premiere was called off because of the coronavirus outbreak. I don't see how that comes as a shock. Large gatherings of people are sort of supposed to be avoided, so how is this a shock? Anyway, that's what it says. But the Bond announcement was just the first in a cascade of movie blockbusters being cancelled or postponed. As gatherings of large people are called off, movie theatres and film festivals are closing around the world. That's affected the planned release of new films from March 2020 and all the way into next year, including Wonder Woman 1984, Marvel's Black Widow, the James Bond thriller No Time to Die, Mulan, Fast 9, and A Quiet Place Part 2. The health and well-being of people and families around the world remains the most important thing, but these movie cancellations affect more than just the balance sheets of major studios. Movie theatre closures are just one sign of the disruption of coronavirus. Movie theatre closures are just one sign of the disruption that coronavirus is wreaking upon people and businesses around the world. I love it when people proofread their articles. So here's a list of movies that have been delayed from their scheduled release dates due to the pandemic of COVID-19, and they've also got a little note there that they'll update the list as more delays are announced. Alright, so we are starting with all sorts of films out of order. Again, I think they've just sort of listed them as the delays have been announced. So the release dates are in no particular order here. But Ghostbusters Afterlife, so on March 31, Sony took the decision to shift its entire slate of theatrical releases. Wow, my mouth does not want to connect to my brain at all right now. So Jason Reitman's small town set Ghostbusters Resurrection is pushed from July 2020 to March 5th, 2021, which is a gap of, if my maths is correct, about 9 months, taking Sony's slot that was originally intended for video game adaptation, Uncharted, which is obviously the next on its list. It says the coronavirus isn't just affecting films that are supposed to come out in these troubled times, it's also disrupted the films that are in production. Uncharted, starring Tom Holland, is the first of next year's blockbusters to be officially moved. This is due to the fact that they cannot currently finish production. They've got to wait till this whole thing has settled down and it's safe to go out and be in large crowds again, because it takes a pretty large crowd to make a film when you put the director and the on-set producers, the cinematographers, the sound and light guys, the makeup artists, the costumers, when you put everyone in a small space, it gets to be a pretty big crowd. And so obviously needing to avoid that, production has actually halted on this. So the next one on the list here is Wonder Woman 1984. Warner Brothers held out until March 24 before announcing that the movie would be delayed, but with most other blockbusters postponed, it was clear that DC Comics' sequel would have to move from its planned June 5th release date, where many big movies have postponed their opening indefinitely. Wonder Woman 1984 is committed to hitting theatres in August, so you can expect that one August 14 of this year. It hasn't really moved that far. It's moved 2 months. So we are still going to get Wonder Woman this year, and that'll mean that both the cinematic releases for the DCEU that were slated for this year will still actually come out this year. The same cannot be said for Marvel. We'll get to that in just a moment though. So the No Time to Die, the Daniel Craig's final outing as 007, was the first major movie to delay release. No Time to Die had already lost its original director and changed its release date twice, but producers feared the closure of many theatres around the globe due to coronavirus would harm box office takings in lucrative international markets. And obviously so, if the box office isn't open, you can't really make a taking there. Basic logic at play there. The delay was announced March 4, and a week later, after the World Health Organization declared the pandemic, other blockbusters began to follow suit. Its new release date in the UK is November 12th of 2020, and in the US, November 25th. Alright, so Black Widow. Just quickly scanning ahead here, they got the new release date as unspecified. I do know the new release date, and I will tell you what that new release date is. Alright, so originally scheduled for May 1st, Marvel's Black Widow has been pushed back to an unspecified date. Disney made the announcement March 17th, and as I said earlier in this video, within the last week they actually have announced what those new unspecified dates are. Basically, the release schedule had so obviously Black Widow was supposed to be May 1st, and then if you pull up that Comic-Con panel, as well as sort of put in where Black Panther was supposed to be, there was one sort of empty slot between where Phase 4 ended and where Black Panther was supposed to be. That's now filled by Thor Love and Thunder, because everything's just been moved back one slot. No word as yet, as far as I've heard, on when the Disney Plus shows will be released, especially if the post-credit scene for Black Widow is supposed to play into the opening of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Because if you remember, earlier in the year, or maybe even late last year, they'd moved WandaVision forward to help try to increase subscriptions to Disney Plus. So no word yet as to whether or not those are being moved back as well yet. So we've got the next one is Top Gun Maverick. Being completely honest, not one that I'm completely fussed about. But in April, the high-flying Tom Cruise sequel was pushed from June to December. We've waited over 30 years for a sequel to the original 1986 Top Gun, so it's a few more months. Minions: The Rise of Gru. Animated sequel / spin-off Minions: The Rise of Gru is definitely postponed. it was set to be released in the US on July 3rd, so the announcement made on March 19 showed that the pandemic would disrupt the summer season. And I think that that's pretty fair to say. I know that in Australia, the social distancing laws aren't being lifted until the end of June. So that's already going to be 1 month into what would be in the Northern Hemisphere that summer release date. So at least the first month is going to be sort of, I would imagine, completely off board. So basically Q2 is not going to make anyone any money, which is a little upsetting. A Quiet Place 2, the John Krasinski directed film starring Emily Blunt and Cillian Murphy, is a post-apocalyptic tale of a world in which noise equals death. The near-silent sequel was due to open on March 20, but with just over a week to go, Paramount announced it was postponing the release to an unspecified date later in the year. Seeing the chilling first movie in a packed theatre was an important part of the experience, partly because of the tension of trying to eat your snacks very, very quietly. I did not get to see the first one in theatres, but I am super keen to see the second one in theatres. So I'm definitely going to be keeping my eyes open for this. I just love John Krasinski and Emily Blunt so much, so definitely going to be looking forward to that one. Fast 9, on the same day as A Quiet Place 2 was postponed. Producers of the 9th Fast and Furious movie did the same, starring Vin Diesel, John Cena and Charlize Theron. F9 was due to open in May, but it's been pushed back nearly a year to April 2021, which had previously been earmarked for the next film in the Fast saga. So there's no word yet on when the 10th and final film will be released. But one can only imagine that if they were going to release F9 this year and F10 next year, that it would just be a 2022 release date. That seems pretty fair to say. So Disney's live-action Mulan reboot was slated for March 27th, but Disney pulled the film on March 12th, just a few hours after similar announcements for Quiet Place 2 and F9. The postponement came late enough that some had already seen the film at early preview screenings, calling the new Mulan majestic and thrilling. The next day, Walt Disney Studios said it was pausing production on other live-action films. The company didn't specify which movies were affected, but Variety reported they include The Last Duel, The Little Mermaid, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which was actually filming at the time in Sydney. A friend of mine lives in Sydney, and on his way to, I believe it was to college that day, he took a photo just sort of as he was walking past where they were filming on that particular day and sent it to me, and I was very excited to see that they'd started production on this, because this one I think is going to be particularly good. But it's been affected. Home Alone, there's a Home Alone reboot which is going to be kind of cool. Nightmare Alley, Peter Pan and Wendy, and Shrunk, which, if I'm not mistaken, is a reboot or a sequel or something to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. So that should be interesting to see. The New Mutants, easily one of the most troubled movies ever to limp into production, and limp it did. The X-Men spin-off, The New Mutants, has now been postponed indefinitely. It was originally slated to be released in 2018 and had already been moved twice when Disney's acquisition of Fox set it back again, which makes this the 4th postponement for the teen-centric comic book chiller starring Anya Taylor-Joy and Maisie Williams. And honestly, at this point, having had to move it back 4 times, and now almost 3 years. Like if it ends up being released sometime in 2021, it'll have been 3 years. At this point in time, knowing that the MCU is not going to be introducing mutants for some time, I would personally say to Disney and to Marvel, you've got Disney Plus. The film's already there and finished. If you've had to, if this film has been pushed back and pushed back and pushed back and now pushed back again, I think the excitement level is starting to sort of wane. It's like, is it ever going to come out? Do I really care? Go ahead and just put it on Disney Plus, so that those of us that do care can watch it. You could market that as one of your originals or exclusives or whatever you want to do, and use that to try and bump up subscriptions, which I imagine lockdowns are already doing anyway. I'm not sure if it's on this list, but you're already doing that with Artemis Fowl, so you might as well do that with New Mutants as well. Spiral, a rebirth of the Saw franchise starring Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson, originally slated for May, has been indefinitely postponed by Lionsgate, along with original thrillers Run and Antebellum, which stars Janelle Monáe. The irony that a rebirth of a horror franchise starring two black guys has been pushed back. Like, the fact that it's been pushed back isn't the ironic part, but just that the main characters are two African American and quite talented actors, obviously, but the trope is that the black guy dies first. So how does this one play out? Could make for some nice, fun, tongue-in-cheek sort of deliberate defiance of horror movie tropes, which would also therefore keep people on the edge of their seats. Alright, so Morbius. As part of Sony's big reshuffle, the Jared Leto Marvel vampire Morbius has been pushed from July to mid-March of next year, meaning that instead of coming before Venom 2, it's actually going to come after Venom 2, which sort of lets us know that it's not going to, like, whatever events happen in it really isn't going to affect the overall storyline as far as the shared universe that Sony's trying to create with its Spider-Man characters. Yeah, so that's what we've got there. The Disney Fox movies. So when Disney postponed Mulan and New Mutants, it also shelved horror film Antlers, produced by Guillermo del Toro. The fact that it's been shelved and it was produced by Guillermo is kind of upsetting. Guillermo del Toro is probably one of my favourite film producers. His films are always really good, and it is a point of self-loathing that I haven't yet seen Pan's Labyrinth. I really need to fix that. But the film was originally supposed to open April 17. The US release of The Personal History of David Copperfield has also been pushed back indefinitely, as has thriller The Woman in the Window. Many other movies have also been affected as theatres closed. So far, these are just some of the smaller studio movies, kids' films, and indie flicks that are postponed. And if you've heard of any of these, let me know in the comments down below. So we've got The Artist's Wife, Blue Story, The Climb, Deerskin, First Cow, Greyhounds, In the Heights, The Lovebirds, Les Miserables. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be a sequel to the 2013, I want to say, one, or if it's simply just a remake. I don't know. Malignant, Peter Rabbit 2, The Runaway, Rocks, Run, Scoob. I had heard of that one. It's a Scooby-Doo film. The Secret Garden, The Truth, The Uncertain Kingdom, and Vivarium. The cinema release was cancelled on March 27. The March 27 day and date online release continued as planned, so you can find that one online. Now, as far as movie theatres, film festivals are concerned, Regal Cinemas will close all theatre locations starting March 17, so they have done that until further notice. Meanwhile, AMC initially said it would limit the number of people in its theatres at one time to 50 before closing completely. In the UK, cinema chains Odeon, Vue and Cineworld shut their doors indefinitely. I don't know what date this article was published, but it will be from that date. Will have been from that date. Film festivals. The legendary Cannes Film Festivals was called off on March 19, originally scheduled to open May 12. The year's most prestigious industry gathering was postponed as part of France's measures to combat the virus. And honestly, with the fact that France borders Italy directly as far as landmass is concerned, that could very well be a blessing in disguise, knowing that Italy is one of the worst affected countries at the moment. The SXSW conference was cancelled earlier in the month, devastating filmmakers who hoped to reach press and distributors at the event in Austin, Texas. Films that were scheduled to premiere at the annual Film, Music and Tech event included The 24th, a scathing historical drama from the Oscar-winning co-writer of Black Klansman, Kevin Wilmot, and New York's Tribeca Film Festival is also cancelled. As with all major events undone by coronavirus, cancellation will have a knock-on effect on local businesses and employees. Still to come, the effects of coronavirus pandemic are still unfolding across the globe. As Disneyland closes and more major gatherings are cancelled, a question mark is cast even over giant events like this summer's Olympics, and more movies will no doubt be delayed. As cancellations extend into the summer, the likes of Top Gun Maverick, which they'd already addressed earlier, I don't know why it's making an appearance here, and Christopher Nolan's Tenet could be in doubt. The disruption may continue for some time as current filming is delayed. So Mission Impossible 7 was unable to shoot in virus-hit Venice, for example, and Baz Luhrmann's biopic of Elvis Presley was disrupted when Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson revealed they'd tested positive for COVID-19. Jurassic World 3, The Batman, The Matrix 4, Fantastic Beasts 3, and many more are also facing problems. So Netflix has suspended all scripted TV and film production for 2 weeks in the US and Canada from March 16. This affects shows like Stranger Things, which was filming its 4th season, which means that now's the perfect time to catch up if you are behind. Productions filming in other locations are being assessed on a case-by-case basis according to Deadline. Apple has reportedly halted filming content for its Apple TV Plus service, which includes The Morning Show, Foundation, C, and For All Mankind. Not heard of any of those. I don't watch Apple TV. Production on The Matrix 4, which began in February, has been halted according to a Variety report. It's not clear when shooting will restart or if the film's 2021 release date will be affected. So as of right now, its release date may not change. We might still get it when we were going to originally on May 21st. And there are currently 4 Avatar sequels in the works, scheduled to be released every other Christmas from 2021 to 2027, but filming in New Zealand has been put on hold for the time being. Now, if they're going by the same social distancing laws as New South Wales is, they should be able to return to filming that in July, which means that they may still be able to make a December 2021 release date for Avatar 2. And past that, I don't see why the other ones would be affected too much. And then right at the bottom of this, there is a list of major events that have been cancelled due to coronavirus concerns, and you can check that out in the description down below. That's all I've got for this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you want to see more videos from me and be notified when I upload new ones. And yeah, of the movies that I mentioned, which of those are you sad to hear have been postponed? Obviously, we're all understanding why, but which ones were you looking forward to the most? Let me know in the comment section down below. And until next time, guys, keep your heads screwed on.